I just generally despise how you try to demean him in every possible way to try to make him look bad and you right. And it's just sad because the only reason you're actually insulting him is because of an opinion he has over a fucking point system in a video game. This isn't okay.
Meanwhile,
Call of Duty is an online game. Call of Duty is an online game. It is not like you say that it's a negative of constantly online. But Call of Duty itself is an online game. Me, when I have a pea brain, exactly. You're like, this is such a stupid fucking point. You chose the absolute worst try. You do not want this dumbass to be your main source of like, this is my time to shine. It's not your time to shine. This is stupid. And I know damn well there's no way he is this unintentionally dumb. For you to listen, for you to change, and for you to stop pumping out shit. You're just a fucking greasy YouTuber in his goddamn room. Do all of you want me to baby you? Or do you want me to treat you like you're actually like intellectual human beings?
Well, you know what they say about people in glass houses. But yeah, guys, today, I am sorry to say this, but I have been hashtag exposed, dude. I have committed a true crime against humanity because apparently, and I was completely unaware of this, I present criticism in a raw and vulgar way. Whoa, dude, how could this have happened? I know many of you are probably disappointed in me, and I'm truly sorry for not telling you sooner that I am an asshole in my videos, bro. I should just live stream my suicide. Actually, wait, fuck. I don't think I can say this shit on YouTube. But yeah, as you can tell from that intro clip, today's video will be, drumroll, my response to this guy's response to my response to his boyfriend's video on the new point system. Also, I cannot wait for him to mold about that joke. And while this video does present a few good points, or at least ones that I can actually derive some solid criticism from, because apparently I'm the only human on the planet who can understand nuance in conversation and ignore everything irrelevant or unnecessary. Something that this dude is gonna struggle with immensely throughout this video, by the way. The rest of his video is half saying my criticism is good but bitching about the rude presentation, and the other half is making disingenuous arguments to try and deflect criticism. And since I found the video pretty funny at times, I figured why not share it around and milk this shit for all the ad revenue it's realistically worth, because let's face it, that's all video game drama is good for in society. The title of this video is, in all caps, "This is unacceptable!" It comes from no name here. And holy shit, here I thought my titles were over dramatic. Meanwhile this dude is out here being possessed by the spirit of lemon grab.
I'm inside you!
But yeah, let's sit back and relax as we find out the Earl of Lemon Grab origin story.
Today, I saw this video, and it's an absolute joke.
Just keep this little clip in mind of him calling the video a joke right at the start. It's gonna become relevant later on.
And you might be asking me, well, this guy agrees with you, what's the problem? Well, the problem is what he says, so let's go take a look. What the hell was that? I'm gonna let all of you know right now, this is the hardest video I've ever had to sit down and watch. So I'm sorry for all of you who are sticking with me through this.
Okay, I'm fucking sorry, but I can't. There's no shoutouts, they're just unironically got mad at the big man gamers meme.
Have blue check marks on Twitter and run on soy and are not a real gamer. So sad indeed.
Like straight off, this dude said it in such a tone like he was just told that he has cancer or some shit. Like, surely he's not serious, right? Yeah, fun fact, this is not gonna be the last time he gets mad over a meme. Later on, he's also gonna get mad at the bad meme, Family Guy joke, and even Shelby from Adventure Time. And yes, I know it sounds like I'm shitposting with that last sentence, but that is unironically something that happens.
Plus whatever the fuck this is.
Like seriously, if he is getting that needlessly angry over insanely obvious memes and jokes in discussion of video games, the virtual equivalent of children's toys, then I don't really have much hope left. But hey man, big man gamers cameo, let's freaking go, dude. But apparently, people on the internet always feel the need to be contrarians about everything, and that's definitely the case with this game we'll be taking a look at today. The title of this video is "The Horribly Misunderstood New Point System" and comes from Clam Rally. And yeah, Spoiler alert, but this video is essentially just him running defenses for the point system by using flaccid arguing tactics, such as bringing up constant red herrings to avoid actually talking about the point system.
He's not going out of his way to be some sort of contrarian. Having a different opinion compared to the majority doesn't make you all of a sudden a contrarian stating an opinion just for the sake of it.
I'm sorry to burst your bubble, but when he makes a video in which he claims he's trying to analyze things fairly, only to go on irrelevant rants and not analyze things fairly, then yeah, that's how that comes off, and I'm gonna put it out there because there is no benefit to him if I don't. Criticism is how we improve, you know. Also, the problem is not him having a different opinion, which I clearly state in a video, in a segment this dude is going to conveniently cut out. I wonder why he would do that. Could it possibly be to be disingenuous by spinning this bullshit narrative that I'm just angry over him having a moo opinion? If he doesn't like that old point system that fucking much, that's all fine. But yeah, as I made clear in the fucking video, the problem with his video are the arguments and how he has a massive double standard in favor of the new point system, as well as other forms of arguing in bad faith, as you just heard. And also keep in mind, I don't mind the new point system, I even say as much in the video, which again, this dude cut out, where I say how the problem isn't that the point system was changed, but rather the issues that the change ended up causing. Like sure, is it a deal breaker? No. The game is still mostly playable with it. But is it an objective downgrade which caused way more issues than it fixed? Absolutely. I mean shit, Black Ops 6 is my top 3 zombies game, something I also bring up, which this dude also cuts out. Black Ops 6 is a pretty damn good game. I'd personally put it over Black Ops 1 and Black Ops 2 any day. And Black Ops 4 is my top 2. And those two are neck and neck, so they will likely end up swapping places with Black Ops 6's life cycle. But wait, they don't have the old point system. But how could that be if I supposedly hate this new point system so much, to the point of attacking people for simply having a preference, like he's trying to spin it? So yeah, a perfect example of pushing a bullshit narrative to deflect criticism. It's funny how his overarching point in this video is that he wants a civil and good faith discussion, but at the same time, not only is he guilty of the exact same shit he bitches at me for, but his demeanor completely eclipses anything I've said, since he feels the need to lie and cut out context when things don't go the way he wants them to. Which is funny, because here I thought he was against misinformation, so much so that he is willing to use someone being falsely accused of pedophilia as a gotcha against them, all because they spread misinformation about a video game. And yes, that did actually happen.
I would have thought you would have known to be more careful about what you say because someone who wasn't tried to fuck you over.
And I didn't think I had to explain why this is so fucking disgusting, but here I fucking go. Pedophile accusations are incredibly serious, as they can completely fuck over someone's life, even if they are not true, due to the wonderful society we live in. Him fear-mongering about a video game, while stupid and disingenuous, is not even a drop in the fucking bucket compared to that shit. The worst that's gonna happen is that someone will see it and say, damn, this game is not safe, I'm gonna go play something else. And the fact you feel the need to weaponize his life, not just career, his actual life, getting to the brink of being entirely ruined, says a lot about you as a person. If you think my presentation is a problem, but not that, then you have some serious mental issues and should go see a psychiatrist yesterday. And yes, I am dead serious.
I just generally despise how you try to demean him in every possible way to try to make him look bad and you right. That's not how this works and it never should be.
Talk about the pot calling the kettle black. Yeah, if you remember that clip from the intro, that's a livestream clip where someone brought up in his chat about how lagging in solo due to the forced online requirement is bad, and this dude didn't even try to argue his point outside some lazy excuses like, well, it's an online game, bro, and just started having a mental breakdown and hurling insults like there's no tomorrow, despite the fact he would end up agreeing with it anyways, as he mentioned it as an issue for high round plays in his prior video. And then the second clip is him going completely batshit insane over the aforementioned Mr. T Lexify video, where he was fear-mongering about Black Ops 3. And while, like I mentioned, Lex was insanely stupid and disingenuous here, if this dude's gonna preach about how using insults in the video is not okay, you would think he would maybe lead by example. And then there's that clip of him calling my video a joke in the start, before explaining why, which is also hypocritical since he bitches at me for calling Clam Rally's video contrarian in the intro. And let me just front load everything here right now so I don't have to later on. The problem is not with him using insults or being rude or whatever the fuck. Obviously it would be rich as fuck for Mick to complain about that. No. The issue is that if that's the way you're going to present your content, and much less your livestream arguments where people are actually present by the way, you don't get to bitch when someone else does it. Sorry to break it to you dude, but just because someone is rude in their presentation doesn't mean they want you to die in a house fire. As much as you want to push that narrative. I mean shit, I literally have it blasted in my about page that this is all for laughs and playing shit up for the video, because hiding criticism in fear of not offending someone benefits no one. I even say it in countless videos and countless comments. To put it in your own words, do you want me to baby him or treat him like he has a proper level of sentience? If someone doesn't like that style of content, that's fine, don't watch it, move on. It's that simple. The same way as ignoring all the little jabs is simple, because at the end of the day, it's just a YouTube video, it can't fucking strangle you. And if you really wanted to have a more civil discussion, you could always join my Discord and talk to me there. If you really care that fucking much about a civil argument, that was always the option, and it still is the option even after this video, because imagine that, video game discussions are not serious and I don't hold petty grudges, despite the fact you knowingly lied on numerous points, and well, the other thing. There have been zero issues with people I made videos on reaching out in order to have me clarify shit in a more civil manner or just simply hang out. And the number of people who I made videos on, in which videos I have been way harsher than here by the way, is a testament to that. I mean, just off the top of my head, you have Anna Waifu, Crafty Masterman, Alex, who I was the harshest towards in recent memory by a mile, and Brother Near/Netherless, who is literally a fucking mod there. And that's not even to mention multiple videos I've made defending people I've harshly criticized in the past. If you're wondering how this is relevant to anything, it's to show you that literally wherever you turn, you'll find countless evidence pointing you to the fact I don't hate the people I talk about, and I'm only doing this shit for the sake of laughs or emphasis. Yet this dude decided to ignore all of it to push this narrative how I'm apparently this evil fucking entity or whatever that just wants to start 1894 by George Floyd.
I'm going to begin this video by saying, like a lot of my other videos, this one's going to require a bit of a nuanced mindset. So I would appreciate if you listen all the way through before leaving a comment.
Yeah, as someone who watched the entire video, if you put more effort into actually making arguments instead of worrying about the reception, maybe this video could win a few people over.
Dude, what are you talking about? All he's doing is just trying to make sure things don't get heated and to hear him out before you go commenting bullshit. That's all he asked. There's nothing wrong with that.
No shit, there isn't. The whole point is that he needed to put more effort into his arguments so that maybe the whole disclaimer isn't necessary. I mean, I don't know how you'll miss that considering it's right there.
Linearly increasing point costs for perk purchases are better than the stagnant cost that the perks had in the classic days.
Yeah, this has nothing to do with the point system. It has to do with the perk system being completely different with there being no perk cap, which made this price increase a necessary thing for balancing. Shit, Black Ops 4 also had fixed points you can get from a single zombie, yet it didn't have perks going up in price. And why is that? That's right, because the perk system was completely fucking different, and therefore, this entire point is completely moot when talking about the fucking point system.
And salvage is definitely a welcome addition to the point economy.
Except it has nothing to do with the point system either, as it's a completely separate currency for additions like equipment, rarities and score streaks. And the ATs in this game. Like dude, if you wanna glaze Black Ops 6 for its mechanics, maybe don't drag the point system into a discussion if you're just going to beat around the bush and not touch it with a 10-foot pole.
This video is as long as it is for a fucking reason.
Well, thank you for proving my point. If he kept the discussion to the point system instead of going on all these tangents about augments, equipment, the reception to Black Ops 6 and what have you, it would not only shorten it, but also keep it relevant to the topic of discussion, which is the whole point.
And the majority of it is about the topic at hand. It's literally one of the main 3 points he's listed. Do I find these 2 points pretty irrelevant? Yes, for the most part. But either way, he's not beating around the bush, so that's a completely untruthful claim.
He says he's not beating around the bush, as he's not explaining how he's beating around the bush in the same sentence. Yes, bringing up irrelevant points is beating around the bush, and he's just needlessly stretching this shit without getting to the actual topic. The textbook definition right there. And then you wonder why I'm condescending when I have to deal with the incredibly retarded statements like that. Sorry not sorry, dude, but if a statement is stupid, I'll call it stupid. Biting my tongue out of fear of not offending someone's fifis benefits no one. Criticism is how we improve. Like, surely this is all a joke and you're not actually that unself-aware.
I do think it's important to give this point system a fair shot and kind of explain how the system works and why it's done like this.
Oh, I can tell you that right now. It's because one of Treyarch employees gave an anecdote about his friend or brother or whoever that supposedly got yelled at for not maximizing points. And just ignoring that it's a public lobby in a co-op game, and that anecdotes are worth as much as soggy toilet paper and are better used for wiping your ass instead of it, that line of thinking is not only insanely retarded, but also insanely destructive.
Another complete bullshit claim. So Kevin Drew's statement around the change was not the only fucking reason the system was changed. To imply that it is the case is completely ridiculous.
Okay, now this is one of the few points that I can actually see some merit in, because I did say in the intro I was going to go into multiple given reasons, or at least I think I did. Well, if I didn't I was going to, but ended up forgetting and only mentioning this one, so yeah, that part was kind of weak. Now, the point about how it's a very destructive anecdote which has no validity to it, coupled with the fact Kevin from Home Alone here literally lists it as the main reason, still makes it valid to criticize, and I even explain why in the rest of the clip. Should we also remove door costs because the person with the most points is always yelled at to open up the map? Should we restrict the maximum number of points to under 2500 before the power is on because everyone's excuse is always that they're saving for Jug? Should we put some arbitrary restriction on the fucking mystery box because there's always that one guy who spends all his points on nothing but a box? You see how fucking stupid that is? But anyways, the next point is just him bitching about me being mean, so you know the deal. We're summoning back Shelby, so skip please.
And I want to clarify, when I say high rounds, I'm not talking crazy like 1, 2, 300. I'm more so kind of just talking like when you start getting to the high rounds, like where the progression ends and then the high rounds start. Usually between like 35 or 40 to 50. I would say what the average player considers a high round. Like if I'm just trying to hop on a game of Kino, right? The most common old school zombies map. Kino or like Doris or something like that, right? I'm going through the map like normal, and by round 25, guys, I have every single thing that I need and more. All my perks, both my guns pap. What else do I need to spend my points on? Absolutely nothing except for when I go down and have to rebuy only my perks. And even then, I have way more points than I know what to do with. The points that I've saved up eventually start to have no value anymore because I'm just given the points only by shooting and not even killing, only by shooting.
I mean, you really gotta love this shit. So he says he's talking about gameplay after the progression ends, and then he says it's bad because he can't spend his points. Like, no fucking shit, Sherlock. That's kind of what it means to be at the end of progression. Literally the perfect example of just looking for a reason to bitch.
No. This commentary you provide is immature as all hell. Just because you don't understand the point he's trying to make doesn't mean you need to be a disrespectful asshole.
The projection is strong with this one. When the guy literally says he's talking about gameplay in the 35 to 50s after progression ends, which he specifically highlights, and then complains that there's nothing more to spend points on, which there is by the way, with traps in the box for the Thundergun ammo, then yeah, that just comes off as being outraged for the sake of it. And if you cannot accept that criticism just because of the way it's phrased, then the only one acting immature is you, and don't shoot the messenger on that one, chief, that's just a fact.
And for those confused what Clam's point even is, I'll break it down for you. Clam mainly plays zombies for the progression. That's what he finds the most fun about zombies. His point is that because you earn points so quickly, and there's not much to do with them after a certain point, the game becomes boring for him. Because the standard act of surviving isn't what he mainly plays zombies for. That's not what keeps him engaged in a match. He doesn't want that in particular to be rushed through because he wants to be engaged in the progression for as long as he can. That's essentially what it comes down to. Your little rebuttal here didn't tackle any of that, and you instead decide to just dumb it down to him bitching.
Because it was. If he doesn't care about the high rounds, why the fuck is he even bringing it up? Not to mention, I do respond to the very point you just made later on when I say that Black Ops 6 is the same way. After progression ends, there's fuck all to spend points on, and the smaller costs like traps and ammo are not even a drop in the fucking bucket of points you have saved up, with the only thing that even has a chance of denting it being your perks when you go down, which is due to the perk system and not the point system, as it would be the same story with the old point system too. But funny how he ignores that one too. Sounds more like he's just getting offended second-handedly because, well, the shit I said also applies to him.
At round 30, I have 33,000 points. Like, actually, what the hell else am I going to spend my points on? Claymores? Grenades? No.
And in the new point system, you wouldn't have shit to spend it on either. That's kinda how being at the end of progression works, like, oh no bro.
Oh no, bro.
When I bought everything, there's nothing to buy? In other news, the floor is made out of floor, but yeah. Now he just goes in circles repeating the same bullshit talking points, so let's go on and move on to the next. The wonders of fucking video essays for your bitch ass. Literally cannot not waste your time.
Yet again, the insults are not needed at all. You clearly just didn't care what his point actually is, so you can make a profit, making him look stupid. And also, your rebuttal doesn't even make sense. You do have shit to buy constantly in the newer games. It's literally ammo.
Which replaced the act of spinning the box for wonder weapon ammo like you had in the older games, which cost even more points than ammo in the newer games, so what's your fucking point?
But each decision that has been made has really changed up the game to make it more engaging to get to higher rounds, which is the draw to zombies in the first place. Play a fun game with engaging progression to get to a higher round.
So you admit they listen to feedback, yet for some reason you're completely against fixing an obviously flawed system because you hate high rounds on Kino? Weird flex, but okay.
That's not the reason why, it's just an example he was trying to provide, and you refuse to acknowledge it. So much to the point, it's literally the title of the video, and you're gonna call him this later on, so I'm gonna throw it right back at you, but if anyone here is being disingenuous, it's you.
Projection detected once again. The reason why I said it like that, and why it's the title, is number one, because it's incredibly silly, and number two, to point out how it's a ridiculous example. The progression is also over by like around 35 in the newer games too. Nothing changes here. Yeah, it's better that it's longer, but it's to do with the extended progression, not the point system. Therefore, it's a false equivalency. And keep in mind, this response was uploaded after the Donuts video, who did the math and noticed that on average, the point gain between the two systems is pretty neck and neck, and in normal gameplay the new one is actually faster. Which this guy even responded to prior to this, so he already knows that if you slap this same progression system in Black Ops 1 Kino, you'd get the same result, unless you decide to min-max the absolute fucking extreme. Which is exactly why him trying to call this disingenuous is projection on his end.
Eric has listened to our feedback and made progression feel better while also making the game feel difficult. People are saying, oh, just put in the old point system. I don't know why they don't do it. Here's exactly why. If you got as many points as you do in this old point system, nothing would feel rewarding.
Which when translated from bullshit to English just means, I have no arguments, so I'm just gonna push my own biases and state it as an objective fact. I mean, are we seriously claiming that getting back a bunch in the older games wasn't rewarding? Or that buying perks wasn't rewarding? Like seriously. You honestly have to try to make an argument this disingenuous.
Okay, now your insults are not only still not fucking needed, but you're also a hypocrite. You can't claim this point is irrelevant to the point system, and then make it relevant to the point system later on by saying that's what makes the old system feel rewarding. An absolute joke of a response all around.
I find it extremely hilarious how he calls me out earlier for supposedly misunderstanding Clam Rally's point, yet now he does the exact same thing here. What I said earlier is that the perk inflation has nothing to do with the point system, which is not what I'm talking about here. I am talking about making purchases in general, which Clam Rally says feel more rewarding in Black Ops 6, which implies they were not that rewarding in the older games. I don't know why I have to explain this considering the clip is right fucking there once again. But maybe this dude has a severe case of short-term memory loss, I don't fucking know. But let's just give him the benefit of the doubt and humor his little cope here. By his logic, if I'm talking to someone about orange juice and he brings up apple juice, to which I say, that's irrelevant but apple juice is pretty fire, that would apparently make me a hypocrite. Like dude, just because I choose to respond to a point I acknowledge is irrelevant doesn't mean it's magically relevant all of a sudden. I can still respond to it in a bubble. And I don't know how you thought this made any sense, dude. It's almost like you were kinda desperate. Like that. Straight up, I'd rather you call me every slur in the book while providing good criticism instead of this disingenuous shit right here. Because that way, the good criticism fucking exists, when in the contrary, it doesn't. And I'd say that bad criticism is more of an issue than good criticism presented in a rude way. Which is coincidentally his only gripe in the next part, and then also the Kevin middle name Joey Drew thing again, which I already went over, so skip please.
Being able to switch on the fly like that would make things far too easy. Progression of your guns in this game is way deeper than progression in the early games, so I think it should cost more and take longer to earn. But here's the thing, I don't think one is better than the other. I think it's just more of a preference thing.
For context, this is him talking about how things cost more because you're more powerful, which is all fine and dandy. But the problem is how he says that switching to another weapon mid-match should also cost more, like bruh. There's a million solutions here they can implement to make switching to a different weapon less painful. Returning the alt point system would make it bearable at least, but it's not a perfect solution. Still though, wasn't this dude bitching earlier how the old point system gave him too many points after he's maxed out, with that being his only gripe with it? Yet now, where he could use those points hypothetically to try a different weapon on the fly, he is aggressively fighting against that. Almost like he's just looking for any reason to bitch.
You see, yet again, insult, not needed. And that's not what he was even saying. You just completely misconstrued what he was saying entirely. His point here is that progression should take longer, and that people shouldn't be allowed to just rush through it with the old system. He does contradict himself later on in this video, but not within this claim. And that's an entirely separate claim that has no relation to his earlier claim with him spending his points in the later rounds.
Well yeah, no shit, it's a separate claim, as it clearly touches on his point from before where he complains that there's nothing to spend points on. Since in modern zombies, all weapons are viable, meaning he now has a reason to spend his points to switch to a different gun if he gets bored. Yet instead of considering the idea of making it easier to swap guns, he instead fights against the change. Also, I think my joke of this having short-term memory loss might unironically be true, considering he plays the part of me saying that progression being longer is a good thing, but then argues the same point against me, while completely ignoring how Clam Rally was in fact talking about switching weapons on the fly, which he showed in context. So it's either short-term memory loss or flat out lying, so pick your fucking poison. And I'm gonna skip the next part too, since it's just again him molding over a jab, as well as a Family Guy joke. I mean dude, I'm just gonna say it outright, if you genuinely get this angry over obvious jokes, then I dread to imagine the real reason you yourself hurl insults at others. I mean, I was going to be charitable, and assume it's also a way of playing it up for the camera for you, the same way it is for me. But if that possibility didn't at any point cross your mind throughout making this entire video, then that implies you genuinely might have anger issues, or worse yet, have something on a personal level against the people you insult all over video games, might I add. So for your sake, I'm hoping it's not the latter, since that would not only make your hypocrisy worse, but it would also just be insanely fucking pathetic.
And I think that's much more of a problem than just, oh, it's one little problem. I think a whole weapon type not being used that much is a big problem. Like, who looked at the L96, the Stakeout, the HS10, and guns similar to that and were like, oh yay, let me keep these guns. You don't need a point gun anymore. This is a whole new style of game.
That's right guys, it's not worse, it's just new, bro. You do realize people would use those guns in the older games if they actually killed, right? That's not lost on you. And the reason they didn't is because the zombies scaled infinitely in health. It's not that the point system that magically made zombies immune to bullets. If Black Ops 6 didn't have the health cap, the problem would still remain the fucking same. And it would be even worse since you wouldn't be able to get points with the wonderful new point system. At this rate, he's just trying to be purposefully disingenuous.
In this case, you're not even acknowledging his fucking argument, dude. You got significantly less points from shotguns and sniper rifles in the earlier games, and the new system makes them more viable from a point standpoint because no matter what, it's a set value of points, which is true. That literally does have something to do with the point system. Like, what are we talking about, dude? Holy shit. The only person being disingenuous is literally you, dude. This video is absolutely fucking awful, and the quality of it looks like shit, might I add. I'm sorry for absolutely everybody's eyeballs.
You gotta love how he cut out the beginning of this statement, where the dude mentions how the thing that killed Variety is being forced to use a wonder weapon, meaning weapon effectiveness is clearly a factor here.
That's something that killed Variety. Only feeling like I could use a wonder weapon and not being able to use things like shotguns or snipers once I got to the later rounds.
So he's once again cutting out context to push a bullshit narrative. I mean, dude, if you call me labeling a video as contrarian to be some smear campaign or whatever the fuck, then what do you call this shit? But hold on, it gets worse, as not only is he being a straight up bitch, but he's also a hypocrite because he had the exact same response to this exact same point.
Like, who looked at the L96, the Stakeout, the HS-10, and guns similar to that and were like, oh yay, let me keep these guns?
Those weapons sucked because they did garbage damage, but something like the KSG or Haymaker were amazing in these earlier games because of their damage.
And here's the thing, his interpretation of this statement being that he's complaining about them not being point guns is not necessarily wrong, like not at all. It's not necessarily that good of an argument either, but different can of forms. However, it gets insanely pathetic when he pushes it like it's the only correct interpretation. It's essentially like saying, my opinion is better than all of yours, and it's insanely egotistical, and like I said earlier, fucking pathetic. Multiple interpretations can be correct at the same time. It's this little thing called nuance in conversation. I don't know why I have to explain this to a fully grown adult, but here we fucking are, I guess.
Like, come on, 400 and 500 points? Are you fucking serious? Just give us more points with power-ups, and while I'm on this topic, make the power-up spawn just a little more often.
Yeah, and give everyone the Black Ops 3 extra credit gobblegum every round. Like, you really gotta love this. He bitches how his only gripe with the old point system is that you get too many points, and then he wants to introduce the same gripe of his to the new point system, but without any additional input required to get to that point, like, yeah. Seeing how we're at the solution part of the video essay video, there's not much more interesting shit that happens, so I'm gonna wrap it up here.
You see, this is what I'm talking about. Your point on him contradicting himself is totally fine and agreeable, but you add a layer of insults to every fucking rebuttal and it's immature as all hell.
Okay, that's a straight up lie and you know it. In fact, I went back and counted the number of segments I had where I threw in an insult to this guy, and out of the 31 clips, only 8 of them included personal insults towards this guy. And not only was I extremely generous with what I considered a personal insult towards him, but I also went ahead and counted all the clips where I was condescending towards him, which came out to 6 additional clips. So that is 8 to 14 out of 31 clips. Not even fucking half. So, considering this dude was bitching at me earlier, saying that it's not fair to call him out for beating around the bush when most of his videos about the topic at hand, and he's now bitching at me how all my rebuttals are supposedly insults, despite most of the clips not having a single insult towards him. Which he knows, by the way, because he specifically cherry-picked those that either had insults or were condescending for him to respond to. Not only is he just flat out lying here, but he's also being hypocritical yet again. I mean, if this is what he considers a more respectful response than mine, then I'm Santa Claus. So I guess the moral of the story here is, old point system bad because it's not new.
Yeah, okay, I'm done with this fucking video, holy shit.
And we've come full circle with him once again getting ass mad over a meme. So yeah, since we went over everything, it's time to wrap it up. So I guess the moral of the story here is, good criticism bad because I'm a snowflake. You're just watching mulled over this again. But yeah, I do also just find it insanely ironic how the message he is, be it intentionally or unintentionally, leaving with this video is, oh, being mean is not okay unless I'm the one doing it, which not only just exacerbates his obviously inflated ego, but also doesn't help with the problem he is supposedly fighting against, and in fact it just makes it worse, as it's essentially a dog whistle that it's okay to be a dick to someone who you consider an asshole. Which is also just even more stupid when you consider that all of this is video game related discussion. None of this matters. None of us fucking matter. I don't matter. You do not matter. You walk outside and no one cares. So like, who the fuck cares if you're a dick? I don't. In fact, I find it amusing. But if you're gonna sit here and virtue signal about it, do the bare fucking minimum and practice what you fucking preach. Oh, and since you're here, join the club by making sure to like and subscribe to boost me the algorithm. Thank you for watching and I'll see you next time.